Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we completed part 1 of the trial. Today's episode, right now, we're going to go into part 2. If you're hot today's episode, make sure that like button supports push the channel. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray! You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was just scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hope to retrieve the substance from the English woman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you stand by me to the last? I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. Susato, take down! No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh. Even though in my heart I knew that you pulled the knife blade from Mrs. Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato! I'm sorry, after I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always by your side. I betrayed your faith in me too, and as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh no, no! I think this situation has taught you both a valuable lesson. Placing you on bridal faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father. The fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray? Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting in the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the purse. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time? That's right. Just Miss Brent and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. Great mystery indeed. I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be alright. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you said you saw true. Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxins. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to the police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. But we'll be doing it in the court. I'm just saying, we have the freaking pen for a reason. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the English woman's doing. What? It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swaned in and without any compunction said to Professor Mikotoba, "Oh, Professor, surely you guests would love to hear about your work in the substance there."
It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a curiosity introduction. Cursory?
So then Soseki knew about the poison?
Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
There's many Mimo-san. But by the way, did the reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there.
Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh?
A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. So Seki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office.
Yet, he also didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took the very candid photograph. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police.
Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel, we just heard the new witnesses read outraged to testify. The trial's about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney, Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Yes! Ray has put her faith in me now and told me everything, so I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the truth is true. And I have to prove what really happened that day.
th August, 11:30 a.m. I hereby call this court to order as we convene to continue the trial of Ray Membambi. Prosecutor Auchi, have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address the question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share.
Oh?
What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoba's laboratory at Yuma University, the police re-examined a knife that was used to end Miss Gisele's life.
Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course.
I had the region delivered to the police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time.
But judging by the man's swagger...
I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And counsel, what were the results? This dagger, which was so clearly used to end the life of the victim,
has no trace of poison anywhere by the blade.
What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it.
Armed with the Regent, the test's extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake.
I'm just saying, the pen that we got is the murder weapon. And sure, the accused feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. I'm just saying, the freaking pen that we got is the weapon. Now the prosecution is ready to call the new witness.
Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness.
No trace of poison on the knife. If that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body?
What's that purple thing?
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court.
I would think it's poison, but that's just the pen he's screaming on.
Right, and many memo of the Shonu News on what people like to call a journal. What's a journal, Father? Do you know?
It's simply a contraction of journalists.
I'm there with the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're print in the morning. They don't call me the new hero of the Herald for nothing, the nice guy of news. Oh, so, it was you who took this photograph, was it? Well, what we have here. I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people. Manny Memo sends a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiosity handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at 72 point in the 5. What? Right then. Let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryutaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I just borrowed customer Summer's dream for a while. By the way, my name is Taketsuchi Aoichi. That's Taketsuchi Aoichi. The so-called dark horse in the Supreme Court. My objectives strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart. No, the readers won't buy that. What?
Witness.
Yes?
What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a journal if I didn't click quick when presented with a scoop like that, now would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you got to be fast. Fast legs to run with, fast hand to ride with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my many-memoism. Many-memoism.
Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met the day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san.
Yes, right. That was me, Many-memo again.
Well, you were supposed to be going back to Shoyu News office after our meeting.
But the scoop is I didn't. Because the Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words? A criminal left to do as she pleases, just because she happened to be a British citizen? It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young men. These are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my mini memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out loud. It's all here. Right here it goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket? The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak off after them. To get to the woman's story, I could hammer her and the press.
Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph?
Oh yes, I saw with my own very journal eyes. From start to finish, through the viewfinder of my trusty camera.
Thank you, Manny Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding this Brett's death. Hey, isn't that the same freaking pen that we saw? Logo?
The beach hut was made of shoddy old Oh, that explains the pen mark right there. Because you don't get that unless it's a pen or pencil mark. And he lost his pen, and that's the logo. It all connects. So there were plenty of gaps I could see through. The Englishwoman was sitting on the stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering general spirit burst into flames quick as a flash. I whipped out my camera ready to click. I pulled out apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through the perfect shot. Read screens, you say? Right, you could see clearly enough in that great shot I snapped.
Minus the cracked detail.
The hot walls were just screens made of closely woven reeds.
Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat.
And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yes, I saw the whole thing from start to finish.
And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens?
Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pull out the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or I would be seen? Or it was a gamble of lifetime. A tenacity of purpose I consider admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. The memoism in a nutshell.
At last, it would appear we have genuine witness to this wicked crime. Evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may close to a verdict.
No! Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful.
Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question.
What question?
Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published?
Oh, that's right.
It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood.
More pathetic excuses.
Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest.
Here we go. Alright, you already know what I'm gonna do. Let's see how bad I can go. Okay, we got the thing. We saw the thing. Arham, we already know it stands for memo. We don't know his first name, so... Okay, what can we do about this, Chief?
The label appears to be written in foreign language that I don't know.
It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be a little help here, I'm afraid.
Couldn't you just written medicine on it in Japanese? They would all be able to read.
German isn't the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. Oh yes, that I can see. Actually, you know, we'll drink it. Isn't there a way for us to use the damn thing? Oh wow. Ah yes, this must be the victim's blood.
Oh dear, blood is never a pretty sight, is it? Having to fight the urge to run it under a hot tub and get it clean?
You've always been fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you?
I think it's something else, Father.
Yikes. Alright. We got these as evidence. We got that. Why do we have a magnifying glass for again? I have no idea. There's no point of it. It wasn't even that useful during the scene, during the previous one. Each hut was made of solidly old screen, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The Englishman was sitting on the stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the fool pulled a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed. Pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journal support burst to light quick as flash. I whipped out the camera, ready to click. I pulled out apart the route read on one of the screens and poked the lens through a perfect shot. I'm gonna do that damn thing and play a dumb guess.
Hold it!
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment the stabbing took place?
Ha! The precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out, from start to finish. I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you can use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Right you are. It's all here in my memo memo pad. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the English woman was in the stool in the back of the hut there. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that. She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I've noted down. It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. At the next moment, as I saw watching, the evil student entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing ferociously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a
flash, plunged the knife in her adversely back as the two passed each other. What you describe as a grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many memoism says. Thank you for this. I needed that. By the way, many memo-san, well, as you were watching the terrible scene unfold before your eyes with the gap in the screen, it did not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film. Today's local journals have no observers. We can get involved at our rare date. That's our raison d'etat. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Absolutely not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor? I think the witness' last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. Father, what are you... I will grant the defense request. Memi Memo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony from the aforementioned statement. Well, whoa is the foundation of minimalism, but I'll gladly prove the words aren't meaningless. Nihilism. I never once set foot in the hut, no spoke with English when I was there, only as an observer. I pull out the weave, scoop, perfect shot.
Hold it!
Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all. Are you quite sure about that? I think you may have the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to the breaking point already. Oh, I see. You were scared. Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you, yes. It was all I could do is to stifle up a scream and hold my hand steadily enough to snap the shot. You really should have someone help before thinking of your camera. Many memoism and humanism doesn't always agree. And most of the time in those instances, many memoism comes out on top. Ha ha ha. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. Surely he's making all this up. He claims to have spotted the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't it? If that's how you feel, I suggest that you trust your instincts and press them on everything. Yeah, I know. As you've no doubt seen done many times before in your role as judicial assistant. Yes, I have. I see witnesses like that press often. I know exactly what I need to do. I already know what to do. It's just I'm playing random guesses. What do we got anyways? That was after the said thing. So where would he said? Where would the thing be? Because he says he's there the entire time, but where exactly was he there? It was shoddy old screen, so there were plenty of gaps I could see through. The English woman was sitting on the stool when this twin girl came and started arguing with her. Technically, the girl pulled out the knife. My shoulders.
Hold it!
The court is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, sure. But why then did you choose to post the photograph honestly to the police? I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decide not to make a story out of the incident. Think of me as a sculptor who makes art out of... I have no idea what he's talking about anymore. I never discuss my own personal life on principle. I mean, that's basically memoism. It's not something to boast about. No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed and justice done what would motivate you. That's it. That's brilliant. My burning desire to see something or other exposed. There has to be a good reason why he didn't think to write an article about what he saw, though. By your own admission, you were outside the hut. How then did you manage to take the photograph? Ah, yes. That I'm glad you asked.
Hold it!
But the two women inside didn't notice? Ha! Obviously not. If they had, where would I be right now? In jail, that's where. Which you think you would make you reflect on what you were doing. No, a journalist's job is to collect little snippets of life at... What the heck? Leave nothing but footprints. Take nothing but photos. Yes, that's the spot on. Memoism. Did he just make that up? The point is, the witness risked life and limb to obtain this photograph. and this photograph reveals the whole truth. There is nothing more to be said. Ever once set foot in the hut nor speak with the Englishman. I was there as an observer. If he was just an observer. Yo, we're gonna press on that. We're gonna press on that. Because it has the initials and the logo. We're just gonna make the assumption that the logo looks familiar. We're gonna try that.
Objection!
There you go! Many Memo-san, until now I have firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering publishing the truth. You're spot on there. And the press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Shoyu News in my arm. In a way that's more Menememoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth. What are you suggesting with this recriminatory words, counsel? Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murder victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner initials are engraved there. R.M. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membambi. Is it a coincidence, I wonder? That your initials are also R.M. Raitaro, he said? Raiten Many Memo. R.M. That's horse dung. Can't you see one of the central tenets of memoism is just a pencil user? And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see that right hand of yours, there's a very obvious blue ink stain. I see purple. It would appear that you have must rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey horse dung. Many Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brent in the beach hut?
Objection!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly! Sure, your news will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be many people with initials RM, as there are stars in the night sky. The defense has neither time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky, nor every RM. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves out who owner it really is. In that case, counsel, defense will now show the court where the alleged clue lies. Of course, your excellency. The clue on this fountain pen clearly reveals its owner identity is... Drycon Drift, don't fail me now. As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize. Many Memo-san. Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Shoyu News. In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem to so numerous, do they? Well, Many Memo-san, how do you respond? No! Order, order! Explain yourself, witness! Ha 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 ha. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens to reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Shoyu News reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. An interview? You never mentioned this before. Didn't you just state that you were never once there? When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It could have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes. That's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as we memoists say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what had transpired. Got it, yes, alright, but on one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san. Soseki-san? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. And brace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one, it's big. Haha, what? This is gonna be ridiculous. Man, the memo also states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I will grant the witness' request in this instance. Officer? And with that, we'll end the episode right here. Like and subscribe, Shortcut 6TV, and I'm signing out.